Holy shit, there was a crit at the end there that just went chonky, boy. Smoke, buddy. All right. I mean, if he just wants to stand there and look at me, dude, like, Jesus Christ, he just got fucked. Was every single shot a crit? Okay, so we're gonna go over the Lepic boss nuke boss farming build. This build has been out for a couple weeks now, so a lot of people have it, but I do see a lot of variations in the Descendant module. So I just figured at the time of this video that I would give my insight on what mods to run here. And this character has been such a pain. I have spent so much time having to re-roll slots and re-catalyst so many different things. It has been a huge pain, but I think ultimately this is the best decision. So I'm going to save you guys the time and the resources so that you can just slot this in if you want to do it like this. But this is to maximize damage, but it also gives a little bit of survivability because he sits at almost 22,000 defense and 3k HP, which is enough to get you by, but this guy's supposed to be like a glass cannon skill build. So with the skills, the big juicer here, first of all, you need Ultimate Lepic and you need Firearm Master. And this, because when you change to your 4, the whole idea behind this build is to change to your overkill weapon. This counts as changing weapon. Now it is important to note that you want to pop your overclock first. So right as you're about to nuke the boss, pop your overclock or your 2, and then wait a few seconds for your MP to recover, and then pop your overkill, which procs Firearm Master. And this gives you a 39% skill power increase and a 45% range increase with some added duration there. I'll go over everything here. The next thing that we're adding is Dangerous Ambush. Because this does so much damage, it puts the bosses down on a knee, and when the boss goes down, it becomes immobilized. So you do 49.8% additional damage. This will also work really well if you're in a group and the boss is not targeting you. You'll get 24.9% additional skill power. This whole build is about speccing into crits and doing as much crit damage as possible and hitting for as many crits as possible. So we're doing the big 4, as we're calling them. 2 purple mods and 2 blue mods. We're running front lines for the crit damage and crit rate, emergency measures for the high crit rate and crit damage. Then we're running skill concentration for more crit damage and skill insight for more crit hit. And this puts us at almost 50% crit with all of this. We're running skill extension so that we have enough time to shoot off all of our shots. And we've also carefully balanced our MP right around like 380 to 400 is where you want to be. And I'll explain how to get there without running any MP mods. We're running Spear and Shield because we want to dip into our skill power here. So we're getting 8.1% skill power. We're running Fire Syncytium because we're dipping into the Fire skill power, 10.2%. And then we're running Fire Specialist. So we're dipping again into Fire skill power, which is giving us another 81.2%. And then the only reason that we're running maximized power is because this is the highest skill power modifier. Now, when you look at overkill, which is your damage dealer here, when paired with Firearm Master, it has a very high modifier already. It's burst damage is skill power times 2,760. So adding any sort of skill power modifier to this, since they are additive, is not going to make much of a difference. But the reason that we're doing this here is we're improving the dot damage or the continuous damage, which is a base 43.8%. So by adding on this 96.1, we're bumping that way up to 139.9%, which means our dot or our fire ticking damage is going to be huge. And that damage can also crit. So I think maximized power is very important if you want those damage numbers to tick and do a lot of fire damage. And then with these big 4 crit mods, we'll be doing a lot of damage per tick. So you can see all of the values here. We have very high crit rate, bonuses, crit damage bonuses, duration bonuses, skill extension. Now, in order to be able to, the idea behind this build is you want to have your cannon shooting the entire time, and you want to have it shooting for as long as possible, but you also don't want to run out of MP. So in order to keep your MP up, obviously your character has to be maxed out at level 40. We have 388 MP on this build because we're running max MP in the Slayer sensor slot. And this will give you just enough. You do need max MP here. If you do not have it, you're going to run out of MP, and then you're going to have to run some sort of MP module in here, which is going to take away from damage. But we are running the full Slayer set. This is kind of a no-brainer because it gives you skill power of 26.1. So that is just adding on top of the skill power here and adding on top of all the other skill power sources that we're getting throughout the build. The auxiliary, I mean, you could just run HP here and MP recovery out of combat. So this one's pretty solid. This one, you don't necessarily need that consumable drop rate. You could run, I guess, MP, recovery in combat. You want the defense roll here on Slayer, and then you want the max shield and the shield recovery modifier on here. You could also swap out any of the secondary substats for resilience if you want to make them a little bit more tanky. But I think these are the things that are clutch. And then the reactor. So the reactor in this build is very, very, very important. You pretty much, and I have tested these. I've tested damage. I've tested reactors without Colossus damage. I've tested reactors with crit hit rate. I've tested all sorts of things, and everybody says that damage in Colossus is the way to go, and they are definitely correct. Skill critical hit damage increases your crits exponentially. It's really, really, really good. And the damage against Colossus is just another damage pool that we're dipping into to buff everything up. Obviously, you want these with fire and tech. And this week it is, impact rounds. So this is what I had to farm this week. But apparently impact rounds is one of the best things to do, because on the gun that you're going to be holding when you pop your ult, it's going to take advantage of whatever modules are on your gun. So in this case, we want to do the highest fire rate possible, which is fire rate up, and sharp precision shot is going to make your ult shoot faster and faster and faster as you hold down the trigger. So just pull that baby out and just lean on the trigger and never release. And I think this build gets off like 12 shots or something. I'm not totally sure, but yeah, this is what you want exactly in this. Now, ideally you would want the crit damage and the Colossus damage to be yellow for the maximum damage, but this will do for now. If we come up here and we look at all the numbers, once again, max MP around 380 to 400. Your skill power is going to look like this. All these are going to multiply together to give you huge numbers. The crit rate is almost 50%, and the crit damage on this is 4.334, but you can get that even higher if you have a better reactor. The main goal behind this guy, since you are a little bit squishier, is to just get that boss down, to drop on a knee and kill him, reduce the amount of time that you're in the fight, nuke these bosses. This is a really good solo farming build. If you're farming for any sort of external components or any amorphous for bosses, you can just pretty much anything that you can queue up with solo, you can kill right away.